When this experienced doctor looks closely at a newborn's umbilical cord, she realizes she's just witnessed something incredible. Olivia Bennet had been feeling uneasy about her pregnancy. There was a deep sense that something wasn't right, and even though her C-section was still a week away, she couldn't shake her worry. Her belly felt tighter than usual, and the pressure made her nervous. She tried to ignore it, but the fear wouldn't go away. Trusting her gut, she called her doctor, Dr. Lydia Strauss, someone she trusted completely throughout her pregnancy. Dr. Strauss understood right away and told her to come in immediately, knowing that a mother's intuition could be important. Everything seemed to happen quickly after that. Olivia felt sick to her stomach during the drive, trying hard not to throw up. "Want me to drive?" Mark asked, using the concerned voice Olivia already knew well. "Just keep going," she replied. Olivia wasn't usually impulsive, but she said yes without a second thought. She couldn't explain it, but she was worried about her baby. Putting her phone down, she rested a hand on her belly and felt a gentle movement inside. Soon, she thought with a smile. Upon arrival, she was wheeled at once to the delivery room. Time passed quickly in a rush of questions and preparatory procedures. Dr. Lydia Strauss spoke to her, explaining in detail what would happen next and what she could expect. Olivia felt a sensation of nervousness, but relaxed as soon as she saw Mark looking down at her. He held her hand all the way to the operating room. As the anesthesia took hold, she felt a disconnect from her body. The delivery itself happened so quickly, but then she heard Dr. Lydia say something to Mark. "Oh dear," she thought, hearing no words but only the seriousness of their tones. Something's gone wrong. Although he would never admit it to his adoring wife, Mark Bennet felt more than a little intimidated by his wife's massive family. He had grown up in a single-parent household that comprised just him and his mom. To his embarrassment, he was always getting mixed up between cousins and sisters. It didn't help that his sisters-in-law all seemed to have very similar-sounding names, and the fact that he was about to become a first-time dad terrified him. How would he be able to hold his own in such a chaotically crowded family setup? But he was reassured by the calm, professional manner of Dr. Lydia Strauss. When he had questions, she always answered them with patience and empathy, making him feel that perhaps he would do okay as a dad after all. As Dr. Strauss made the incision, Mark Bennet bit his lower lip, hoping that he would not embarrass himself by passing out. Olivia was counting on him to be there for her. Mark could hear his own heartbeat pounding in his ears. Each passing moment felt like an eternity. And then it was all over. The obstetrician pulled out the tiny baby, his firstborn son, and Mark felt tears gather Olivia at the corners of his eyes. He held his smartphone in his left hand to capture the moment, but his hands trembled so much that the first image was blurry and indistinct. "Pull yourself together," he admonished himself. He snapped a second photo of his son. This one came out better, showing the tiny baby's wrinkled face and the cutest dimple right in the middle of his chin. But then, as he was falling in love with his son, he caught an expression of shock and astonishment from the nurse. Mark snapped one more picture. Was that a bubble forming in his little boy's mouth or just his imagination? Dr. Lydia Strauss said something, but the mask made it difficult to understand what she was saying. Reluctantly, Mark turned around at last, taking his eyes off the little boy. "What was that?" he asked. "Is something wrong?" The optician took a deep breath. Her blue-gray eyes were grave and serious. Then she spoke again. "You better take a photograph of this too, Mr. Bennet." For a moment, Mark did not comprehend what she was saying. Then he realized that halfway down the umbilical cord was a loose knot, translucent and impossible. Mark Bennet felt his throat go dry. Is he all right? He wanted to know. It would kill Olivia if, after all these months of waiting, there was something wrong with the baby. But the warmth in Dr. Strauss's eyes temporarily reassured him. "Yes," she said. "He's alive, and that's a miracle. You have so much to be grateful for. Take a photo of this for the album. No one's going to believe you otherwise. He is a very special boy. Are you absolutely sure he's okay?" Mark asked again. "He looks fine," Dr. Lydia Strauss said, "but we'll examine him just to be sure." She understood Mark Bennet's anxiety despite her calm, professional demeanor. Today's miracle baby brought back a dark and unpleasant memory. Many doctors carry a dark anniversary within them, a date that always comes around as a reminder of a patient they cannot forget, a time when even decades of training, a room full of medical equipment, and the pure intention to do good were not enough. Dr. Lydia Strauss is no exception. For her, the 4th of May was the day when she had to call time on a doll-like baby girl who should have grown up basking in the love of her parents and the laughter of her 3 older siblings. But instead, little Katie never lived to take her first breath because something went desperately wrong while she was still in the womb. The umbilical cord, meant to nourish and support the baby's development, had instead snuffed out her tiny life by starving it of oxygen and nutrients. No one knows why the umbilical cord sometimes knots in the womb, although obstetricians are generally stumped by this puzzling phenomenon. Some doctors speculate that the occurrence of a knotted umbilical cord could simply be caused by the baby moving around inside the womb. Unborn babies are such enigmatic creatures, and what they get up to inside the womb is anyone's guess. Frequently, the knot stays loose, allowing blood and oxygen to pass unhindered to the baby from the placenta. But if the knot tightens, it can be fatal, as has been the case with this poor little girl. Baby Katie would have been the first girl in a family that already had 3 boys, although the family was later blessed with a daughter. Dr. Lydia Strauss was haunted by a loss that happened 8 years ago. In the face of that perfect little girl frozen in death, the memory urged Dr. Lydia to be more vigilant about the prenatal care of her unborn patients. But it wasn't always easy, given that abnormalities with the umbilical cord can be difficult to detect. Certain symptoms, such as lowered birth weight, can indicate the possibility of reduced blood flow, but to confirm a diagnosis, more specialized equipment is needed. Even if the condition is correctly diagnosed, there's little a doctor can do other than monitor the baby. Only if the knot remains loose and unconstricted does the baby have a chance to survive without potential harm. As Dr. Lydia Strauss examines the Bennett baby, she is immensely relieved to note that all of the boy's responses indicate that he is normal, without any birth abnormalities or complications. The ghost of baby Katie fades as she picks the little baby up to reunite him with his waiting parents. But while their son has checked out completely normal, Mark Bennett has another challenge to address. There were 23 new messages on his phone, and he still felt overwhelmed by the emotion of watching their boy enter the world. He decided that perhaps a picture really was worth 1,000 words. He sent the image Dr. Lydia Strauss prompted him to take to each of the sisters, cousins, aunts, and uncles, everyone waiting for the news. Then the messages started pouring in. Oh my God. Mark, are you okay? That's so intense. What a miracle. Finally, a boy in the family. We love you all and can't wait to meet him. For once, with all the support and congratulations, Mark Bennett didn't feel like the odd one out in a family full of women. He felt included, loved, and appreciated. Mark realized his little boy wasn't just lucky to be alive. He was also fortunate to grow up in a big, close-knit family filled with love, warmth, and compassion. His family was truly blessed, and that little baby boy must be such a joy to his parents. Have you experienced the joy of a miracle baby in your family? Share your story in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update from our channel. Thank you.